Hello, good afternoon. My name is Mary Wingo, and I am broadcasting from beautiful Cuenca, Ecuador. Climate is lovely today. What can I say? Every day's paradise. Okay, boy, how do I begin this? I'd like to share with you an odyssey. Okay, you're gonna realize I got a kind of an odd sense of humor. Okay, I want to share with you something that is extremely profound. It has occurred over the last 2 months, and this is really, really interesting. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this. Okay, about 2 months ago, my eyes started acting up. I'm like, gosh, what is this? It was allergies. What is this? And I couldn't see it, and it was hurting really, really bad. I was getting really bad headaches, and I do like massage, because sometimes, a lot of times, you get like, eyeball pain from, various trigger pressure points. Massage my neck. I'm on the computer a lot. Okay, helps a little bit, but that is my vision was not clear, and it was starting to get kind of scary. It was like, God, it's like I've got something in my eye. And it started getting kind of scary, so I went to the first ophthalmologist, which, by the way, only costs $30 for a consult, a thorough hour-long consult here. It's a pretty good deal. And he's like, oh, you've got blocked, what do you call it, tear ducts. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, so he sticks a little pin in, with anesthesia, and goes, and causes all kinds of trauma to the area, and of course, it doesn't fix this eye. It doesn't fix it. And I'm going in, and I'm telling his secretary, it's like, hey, this isn't being fixed, just like a lot of doctors do. They kind of sort of blow it off. And I got upset, and I went to another ophthalmologist because, hey, there's something kind of serious here. And he looks and he's like, yeah, I see a lot of inflammation, but I don't see anything. And he did a further examination. He said, you've got a beginning of a cataract. He's like, you got floaters? Look at here, and you have got it. You're too young for a cataract. I'm like, oh no, oh my God, oh no, because I don't even hardly wear eye makeup. I don't wear contact lenses. Other than reading, I don't put any stress on my eyes. I don't. So I'm like, oh my God, and this kind of led to an existential crisis. Because actually what he was telling me, hey, you're starting to go blind. So, you can imagine, if you're, like, say, 70 or, 65, 75, 85, yeah, okay. But when you're not that age, it's kind of scary. It's like, what's going on? Okay, well, I'm a physiologist. I've got the power of being a walking human encyclopedia. So, I started kind of doing a little bit of more research. And sure enough, cataracts are caused by physical and chemical stress. Okay, so this all relates. Okay, wow, okay. So, okay, how do we relieve the stress? See, this is how, this kind of goes deep. So this isn't just for me. This is just whenever we find ourselves with a chronic condition, okay, this is one thing we need to do first. How do we relieve the stress on the affected body part, okay? Well, what stressors are causing it to fail, okay? So 101, this is how we deal with chronic conditions. So, well, this gets deep. It turns out that I did this to myself, of course. But that's not the, that's not the whole story. I have a bit of a compulsion, behavioral compulsion with reading. And I've had it since about, I don't know, 11, 12, 13 years of age. My mother was the same way. She read one book a day, but it was all pulp fiction. It was all romances and Agatha Christie novels. And I remember she would go through our library in our town. She would go through entire bookshelves. Like, what have I not read? What is the new? And of course, she had totally screwed up eyes. I mean, she had horrible eyes. I mean, messed up, bizarro lenses this thick with, multi, spectrum doodads on them. And so it ruined her eyes. It ruined her eyes too. Okay. So, but I'm even worse than my mom. I didn't read easy pulp fiction. I've been a bibliophile, which is normally good, okay? But normally. But it was all nonfiction. It was all science, political science, history, economics, philosophy, religious studies, various religious studies. And of course, physiology and everything to do with stress. Every aspect of human stress. This is how I've become a specialist on a world-class level, is being just constantly reading, okay? A lot of other academics, they read a lot, but they just don't have time to read. They don't read like I do. They don't read as fast as I do because they've got a lifelong compulsion. And I realized this compulsion was making me blind at a young age. So, okay. All right. So, getting back to the point, I needed to relieve the stress on my eye. Okay? I couldn't read. Okay, so I stopped. I only did the work that I needed to get my work done. Staring at computer screens, actually very, 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 very hard on your eyes. And so I'd just sit in the dark, and I'd have like this irritated eye. I'd sit in the dark. And what I did, I'd taken 5 different medications, drops from these doctors. Total shit. Okay. Okay, so you know where I'm going here. Then made a preparation of a, I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want people to just copy this and start dumping stuff in their eye. But I made a sterile preparation, ophthalmic preparation of a very common anti-inflammatory jungle medicine down here, jungle drops. And they're anti-inflammatory, but I made a special preparation. It wasn't just, I'm not going to say, because I don't want people just dumping stuff in their eye and, oh no, But if you want to know, I'll tell you. You can ask me and I'll tell you. And, I took like one of those little, cups. You have like these little cups you can fill with solution. And do like this to your eye and kind of roll your eye around and really bathe your eye. Well, I did that. And about 2 hours later, a yellow discharge for an entire day. Like my eye was shut of just this discharge. It was like, it's like having pink eye, like the worst pink eye, except it was all yellow. And obviously there was an infection that the doctors missed. They missed this infection. So obviously it was hidden somewhere with some sort of blocked duct. Or, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that can, get blocked or infected, in the conjunctiva. I felt it. It was in the eyelid, actually. It's like, what is it? It was like a piece of glass. And that kind of piece of glass allergy, kind of scratchy, horrible scratch, went away. Okay. Went back to the ophthalmologist, and wow. He's actually pretty open-minded. A lot of the doctors here, they understand that a lot of the the plant medicines are more effective. They're actually trained. It's kind of an understood thing here. And he's like writing down what I'm doing, like, oh yeah, okay, tell me more. And sure enough, a lot of the inflammation had gone away. But I'm thinking, why is it taking so long? The eye heals very quickly. You get a little something in it, and it gets inflamed. Maybe your guys get bloodshot, but it goes away usually within a day or even hours. There's a lot of blood vessels in this area, and I'm like, why isn't I'm taking the stress away? I'm closing my eyes. I'm not doing this compulsive reading every day. I don't have a TV. I listen to music and I read. Okay, so you can imagine the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours that I read. Okay, and and then I got another plant. Is eye bright? Okay, I'll tell you that. There's a second one. First one, I'll tell you if you want to ask me. Second one is eye bright. Is the special preparation of eye bright, and that's available in the U.S. As well. And that's also a nice thing. Put it in the little sterile eye cup, roll it around, and it's helping out a little. I'm like, but why is it taking so long? Why? Well, obviously, I have some autoimmune stuff. I have some autoimmune issues. Obviously, so this isn't just an infection. So we got inflammation due to infection, so the stress of it, but we got inflammation due to some sort of autoimmune, something where, the body is attacking, is for some reason that I don't know. Don't know why. And so by this time, 2-3 days have gone by, and I didn't read. And so this, okay. So this kind of goes beyond the eye. This gets really, really, this gets really deep. Well, I realized what drove my compulsion to read all the time. It was a compulsion. It wasn't healthy. It was trauma. Trauma since 11 or 12. And I realized that I could read books and forget about my particular pretty severe traumas at the time. Okay? So I've carried this all these years. Decades. Okay? And, when you're doing a compulsion of any sort, any type of addiction, you stop. Oh, you know what happens. All hell breaks loose. Whether, you're stopping smoking, okay, the horrible feelings you get, or you stop drinking, or if you're addicted to shopping or gambling, you stop it. The horrible, blah, blah, blahs that come out, okay? Well, again, these are flashbacks, okay? So we're going to demystify, and they're caused by, stress at the time when you had your trauma that was so profound that it caused a little bit of brain damage in your memory centers, okay? So it's not complete memories, so they're kind of just sort of stuck there, and you can't process them because at the time, the stress, the high cortisol caused, and I'm not going to, we can go into the physiology like for years on this, but just to make a very long story short, your memory centers get physically damaged. But luckily, a lot of times they can regrow back. It's one of the few parts of the brain. They can actually regrow neurons and axons. Okay, so after about, my eye is still like maybe 50% better. So okay, without the medical establishment that failed me, I was able, and but I realized the real problem was the debilitating flashbacks that just went on and on. So about a week of this shit, I mean, really, you got to see the humor in this. I mean, seriously, it's so tragic. I mean, I've got a dark sense of humor. You can laugh, I can laugh. So about a week of this shit. I was like, okay, I need to go back into the jungle and see what plant medicine doctors can do for this. Because obviously, this wasn't just my eye, okay? It wasn't just eye problem. You know, this kind of opened up Pandora's box. So there was a special running in the local classifieds. Sorry, for services. It was a special prize, really good prize. And so I set out on my 12-hour bus trip from the Andes. I'm high in the Andes to the Amazon. It's not that far, but everything in Ecuador takes a long time. I mean, the nature is so dense here. It's not like you can go 55 miles an hour. You know, you just can't. It's not like Texas where you can just put the remote control on, 75 and, you go several hundred miles in a few hours. It's not possible in Ecuador. So went up and went to this Indian tribe. I should say, it's really not proper to call them indigenous tribe. Quechua. Hardcore. They don't mix. I mean, they go to town 2 times a month to get supplies, kind of like homestead supplies, but that's it. They hang out. And, I got plant medicine. But that's not all. Let me tell you what happened. Okay? So, what kind of plant medicine? Well, of course, this is ayahuasca. I'm like, ayahuasca for your eye? You know what? Yes. Okay. So let me tell you what happened on the first night. Okay? First night, I drank 3 cups of ayahuasca, and I wasn't feeling anything in the head. I've done this a number of times before. Wasn't feeling, but I didn't want to. I wanted to address whatever immune condition it was that was causing this chronic, whatever the heck it was. I'm not ready. I'm not putting stress on. It's improved, but it hit kind of a plateau. Well, you're not going to believe what happened. So I had a ton of this stuff, and I'm totally clear. Normally, you get a little bit. Your mind is always clear with ayahuasca, but you can get kind of like your movements can get kind of. You can get kind of steady, unsteady. Well, no, I didn't have that. I was like totally normal. It was totally normal. But then all of a sudden, I started getting. I remember I've got autoimmune stuff, like this tightening of my throat, the typical sort of like say for instance you're allergic to tomatoes or strawberries and you eat them and all of a sudden your face starts swelling, your throat starts closing up, you can't breathe, you're like having to struggle to breathe, and like your eyes start itching and everything starts itching. Well, that happened. Okay? That happened. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, and it was like, and the medicine doctor, comes out. I've walked outside and, because I'm like, I'm like trying to jeep and get air, because fight off this mother of all asthma attacks. I don't normally have asthma, but I mean, it was a mother. So it was an immune response caused by the ayahuasca. I'm like, what? It's supposed to affect my head, not supposed to affect. Okay, let me go on. This is beyond imagination. And with ayahuasca, part of the process is that you throw up. I know that a lot of people, it's kind of distasteful, but that's part of it, okay? It's a strong antioxidant, okay? And so if you've got inflamed tissue with, like, say, damaged, like, say, molecular shrapnel. So when you have inflamed tissue, okay, you've got a lot of shrapnel. You've got a lot of molecular and tissue shrapnel that leads a lot of, abnormally reactive, molecules, which cause, that's again, when we get chronic problems, that's where, you set up the stages for chronic disease and cancer and stuff like that. You want to be able to clear out molecular shrapnel, that occurs from metabolism or anaerobic metabolism or process of inflammation that just can't be resolved, that go on and on and on. Well, there are things, antioxidants clean this up, okay? So this is the mother of all antioxidants. And so my theory is that what it does, it gets in there and it starts absorbing the shrapnel crap. And all of a sudden, the fluid pressure just builds up. Everything just builds up. I couldn't breathe. The tissues just all swell up. And then when you go to do that purging, okay, that's common, all of a sudden it all went away. So it all went away. And I was, oh, wow. And then I'm moving my eye around. Oh, wow, it feels so much better. It feels so much better. Yeah. I was like, wow. So the ayahuasca, it didn't work on my head. I was totally sober. Clear thinking, could have a conversation like this. Not seeing anything, no nothing. It totally worked from here down. And so the next day, I got up and ate totally nutritious, organic food, prepared by the indigenous, indigenous food, not westernized food, but in hardcore, recipes of 1,000 years or more type food. Okay. I rested my eyes some more and it was working a lot better. I'm like, wow, there's no scratchy, there's nothing. And I could see finally when the eye kind of settled down, there was a little bit of equilibrium there. I could say, okay, I see where the beginning of that cataract is. I can see now that the rest of the eye is healthy. I can see where that was. And then, it was great. It was great. And so with that, and then using what's called the Bates method, go ahead and look it up. It's called the Bates method. Very quickly, I've been able to rehabilitate some, and again, it's not perfect. But I've been able to rehabilitate some really serious issues. But that's not all. Okay, the story doesn't end there. I was talking to one of the medicine doctors. Well, he was an assistant. And this guy's he's a Quincano. He kind of sort of, remember Joe Cocker? He's kind of like Joe Cocker, kind of like that. Charming, precious guy. Kind of just like Joe Cocker. Okay. And whirling dervish kind of guy. Precious. And I asked him, well, what's your advice? He's like, do what you can to put down the glasses. Now I've got a very strong, I'm like negative 475/20. I mean, it's very damn near close to legal blindness. He's like, practice not using your glasses. I'm like, but I can't see, dude. It's kind of, especially here in the jungle. Where, paths are irregular. You've got pebble stones. He's like, okay. He's like, what you have to do, you're looking too low or too high. You're rolling your eyes up. You need to look exactly horizontal. Like, and I noticed. I took off my glasses, kind of started walking around, being very, very careful not to trip because I tend to trip. And I noticed, yeah, man, I'm always looking at my feet. I'm not looking ahead when I walk. I'm a big walker. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's onto something. Wow. And he's like, yeah, I used to wear glasses and I gave that stuff up, And I had to, He's like, you develop acuity, by practicing. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to practice. I mean, use my glasses for stuff I really need. But when I, don't like feel like I'm going to, kill myself running into things. And sure enough, I could feel him getting stronger. So the Bates method, the Curandero's method of focusing when you're moving forward, okay, not just when you're sitting, okay, but like you're moving, you're focusing on the horizontal line, okay, not too high, not too low. That's pretty ingenious, okay. But then the story doesn't end there. Oh my God. Okay, so the story doesn't end there. So I'm practicing, and there's a number of other people there. And I'm sorry, this is getting so funny. I mean, it's just so funny. There was a German Ecuadorian. There's an expat there, German Ecuadorian. He spoke Spanish, English, and getting along really well. But then on the second night of the ayahuasca, okay, where I wasn't concentrating on, well, I was concentrating on whatever else my eye needed, but I was concentrating on why I was getting these flashbacks when I stopped, because, okay, so I'm curing my eye, but see, that's not the whole thing. That's the problem that caused my eye was caused by reasons outside of the eye. Okay, so I wanted to look at that. And you're not going to believe what happened. I was talking to some old, an old guy, who, this was like his first time. He's from Ireland, charming fellow. And, he's kind of scared. He's an older guy, probably like 70. He never done anything, total straight-laced, suit and tie guy. So I was like, wow, talking to him and, trying to, don't be nervous and, laughing and stuff like that. And this German guy, so an American, a German, and an Irishman all walk into an ayahuasca ceremony. Okay, so no, that's a joke. Not a bar, but an ayahuasca ceremony. And all of a sudden, this German's we were getting along fine. He was, all of a sudden, he just, just kind of does this, changes, kind of does his exorcist, from the real sweet, laid back guy to like, shut up, are you crazy? Shut up. I'm like, what the? I'm thinking, I turned to the guy, what an asshole. And, okay, but this, I thought, I'm not moved to violence, but this is the second German here in Ecuador that I have wanted to just cold cock. I mean, just go up and just do, I don't think I've ever, I've never cold cocked anybody, but I swear to God, there is something about Germans that are here in Ecuador. They're just crazy. Okay, anyway, so I'm not racist against Germans. I'm just saying that, hey, man, okay. So I'm like, God, what an asshole. What? I'm like, what happened? And this is like right before we were drinking the ayahuasca. And I'm thinking, and all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, I drank the ayahuasca. And I get this, I wouldn't say voice, but I get this notion. Stick with this pissed offness that this guy did. Because ayahuasca does that. Ayahuasca, will do stuff. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me to explain. I don't know. I'm skeptical. I'm just telling you your experience. But my experience is with ayahuasca, whatever bad habit you're trying to undo, it will test you. And so sure enough, I'm like, how ironic. A guy just comes and just acts like a total asshole. And I mean, just changes. I mean, just literally does a 180. I mean, I figure out, I still don't know what I did, But I don't think it was me. It was, sort of like shit test, by you get shit tested by ayahuasca. And I'm sitting there, and man, I'm like, God, what an asshole. I'm just trying to do my own thing and, fix my stuff. And this guy comes in. But then I realized that was the problem. Okay? And so this notion comes to me. I mean, literally a minute after I drank the ayahuasca. He's like, Mary, you're never going to be fully successful in life unless you learn how to get along with men. And I'm like, but I didn't do nothing. I'm just sitting here and this, and men do this a lot to me. I'm like, men, why is it? I mean, literally, I'm sitting there, I'm just talking, this happens a lot, and all of a sudden a man, not a woman, well, okay, sometimes women, but will just come and just go on me. And I'm like, why? I've always wondered why men act so crazy around me, sometimes. I mean, they really do. I mean, I have had men just say the craziest things to me. I mean, crazy, and never figured out. Well, I figured out. Oh, guys, man, this goes in. But let me tell you what. Basically say, you're not maintaining respect for men. And I'm like, I'm arguing with myself. So I mean, it's not like, the voice of God, but it's like you're having sort of dialogue, dialectic with yourself. You're kind of sort of, like the old Plato, Socrates, like the Socrates, Plato type of dialogue with yourself. And, basically this dialogue was discussing with me. He's like, yeah, you don't respect men. And I'm like, well, what does this have to do with anything? He's like, look, I said, I do respect men. I'm friendly. I was friendly to this guy. I'm friendly, respectful. I didn't do a thing. No, you're not respecting me. I said, how? He says, because, yeah, you're outwardly, acting like you respect men. But in reality, you're thinking, very disrespectful thoughts towards them. Why, where you're covering up with your friendly attitude. And I'm like, that's true. Oh, God. I mean, this, again, see the humor in this. I mean, really. I'm like, yeah, I always have. And again, why is this? This is due to my own traumas with men from early on. It's not because I got a bad attitude. I mean, I love men, actually. But I realize that, I have this attitude, what's this swinging dick gonna tell me? Okay, I'm gonna humor you. But even though I come off not quite like that, I come off as, try to come off as more respectful. But I said, so what do my thoughts have to do? I mean, my behavior, I try to be respectful for everybody. I really, really, really try. I really put a lot of mindful effort, in respecting. And she says, no. What it is your oxytocin, your bonding hormone, okay, what bonds people together, is so low that you're copping an attitude. And, humans are animals. They pick up on pheromones. They pick up on stuff, okay? And when you come off with a friendly attitude, but then you have this other sort of this is just another jackass I'm talking, asshole. We're going to say asshole, again, because of my own trauma, what happens, this is what this dialects tell me, what happens, this is like me talking to myself, is that this causes cognitive dissonance in the men, okay? So you're giving one signal, but then you're giving somehow Maybe it's hormone, maybe it's hormone, maybe, I'm secreting stress hormones, and so they're getting friendly, but then they're getting unfriendly, on the other hand. And so it drives men crazy. See, that's your problem with men. That's why all of a sudden, you can be talking, friendly to a guy, and then he just does a double face on you. You drive them crazy because of the cognitive dissonance. And I'm like, well, how the hell do I change that? And you've got to maintain I had sort of, my eyes were closed. The word block letters in Spanish, it said maintenga respeto, maintain respect. I said, well, how do I do that? And the answer I got, oh my God, this is great, is eliminate the word asshole from your vocabulary. It's kind of sort of snarky, sort of a Judge Judy snark, like I had enough of your stuff, type of. Eliminate the word asshole. Well, why? And I realized whenever I use the word asshole, it's never for a woman, it's for a man. God, what an asshole. It's almost never. I don't hardly ever remember calling a woman an asshole. I mean, you call women other words, boy, what a bee, what a bitch, or whatever. But an asshole. It's all reserved for men. Very disrespectful. So, I was like, so what's the effect of, eliminating the word asshole? You just put the word guy in for asshole, and it's a lot more respectful. And I said, well, okay, so I do this, but this crazy, whacked out German, violated me. She said, okay. That's how you deal with it the next day. She says, you can talk to him the next day. Okay, so okay. But she says, let's practice maintaining respect. See, we go through drills, practicing. Now, it's useful. This isn't just, like trying to check in to see what condition my condition is in, the old Kenny Rogers song. This is practicing so you can develop the better habits, okay? So, okay, let's practice maintaining respect for men. So a negative thought would come with a man, yeah, swinging dick. What I mean? Just kind of, really putting men down. She said, Mary, you're sexist. I said, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am. I really need to work on that. So, okay. So, basically, problems with men, problems with compulsive reading came from traumas back when I was a kid. So solving two problems at once. And in fact, the trauma from the particular men in my life, my family men and others, from child, it caused me to read that book. So my sexist attitude goes along with my thirst for knowledge. And the walking encyclopedia, I mean, I'm not I'm just saying that this is compulsion. I don't recommend it for it, but the walking encyclopedia that you see, I'm a walking encyclopedia. I mean, literally, when I was getting my PhD, I outstripped my professors within a few years. They couldn't, they didn't know physiology like I did. I mean, I'm 25 years old. I'm stripping. I mean, my professors, couldn't keep up. I didn't really like them much anyway. But, so, it's actually a problem. Like drinking, alcoholism, whatever. It's actually a problem. And it's tied in to my attitudes towards men. So, the next day I get up. And And again, I really don't understand. I mean, literally, to this day, I don't understand what I did. I mean, if I did something, I would have apologized, but I mean, I literally did nothing. I don't know what happened to this guy's brain, except his own traumas with women. And the next day, he walked past me and I'm like, hey, and I'm not talking to you. I said, you went over the line. He just walked past. I'm like, oh, I'm really mad now. So we're all having breakfast together. And, really nice. And, there's about 10 of us at the table. And he comes this guy, he's like distorted face, like Hannibal Lecter. He kind of looked like Hannibal Lecter, exactly. Your red rims. This was a, nice looking metrosexual guy that turned into like this, real rough night, obviously. I don't know. But and he was like almost directly near me. And I'm like, why did you sit? And he's just like, trying to like avoid eye contact with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to settle this. I said, you know what? I said, that wasn't effing cool to talk to women like that. I said, it's very abusive to call a woman crazy. And you called me crazy 3 times, and I don't know why. And I said this in English. Everyone else was in Spanish. He speaks English. I speak. Everyone else is speaking Spanish. Well, this other Ecuadorian who spoke, he's like, oh, no, not here. I said, yes, here, because he didn't want to discuss this. He didn't want to discuss this earlier, and I'm going to get this settled here. And the shaman next to me is like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. The shaman's helper next to me, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's totally okay. So it was settled. And I was still angry. I was still, why am I, why? So the ayahuasca's still working. So this is like, 10, 15 hours after it's still working. Why is this bugging me? Why? 'Cause, again, this is still working. Why is this still bugging me? Well, it's bugging me. Finally, I'm on the bus. Remember, it's 10, 12 hours, and it's in the night, and I'm needing to rest my eyes anyway. So I close my eyes, and I see those blocks in Spanish. This is block words in Spanish in front of my eyes, because I've also have 20 years of meditation under my belt. So trying to meditate, maintain respect for men, maintain respect. I'm talking 3 hours, and I have this really bitter feeling, like, fucking asshole. What? Da da da. And then all of a sudden, reality comes to me. It's like, how many men just happened to be at this place? There were women too, but I'm thinking, well, and how many men were respectful to you at this retreat? I'm thinking, well, there was the Colombian guy was respectful. All the shaman were respectful, and this person, that person that was there, and this other person, and then I was the only American. And so there were, I counted 11 guys that including indigenous, including some really, really nice indigenous men that were at this place. And so 8% of the men were disrespectful. So that one German guy. So it's something like I count 8%, 7% of the men. So 92% were totally respectful. I'm like, that's reality for you. Here I am, this tiny minority, I'm getting upset when everybody, these other men, at least for this retreat, were wonderful and totally respectful. And I'm getting upset over this crazy German that has his own problems, has nothing to do with me. And I started laughing. I said, then I was still talking to myself. This is on the bus. Because you're talking many hours in the dark. Didn't want to talk to anybody, just wanted to kind of, he's like, well, do what you did. And you want to maintain respect for men at all times, okay? Well, what about men that are disrespectful? Well, just confront them like you did that guy. Just confront them. Say your piece. And if they accept it, then okay. But if not, which is usually the case with people with kind of crappy personalities, then they're eliminated from your life. You call them on their shit in a respectful way. You don't, like, I didn't call the guy an asshole. I just said, look, it was very abusive, and you never disrespect a woman like that. You don't go up and start screaming in their face, but you just point out exactly factually that this is my dialogue, what they do, and if they just fall apart over it, that person's not meant to be in your life. And this is true for women too. But my problem was with men because obviously I found out I was a sexist, even though I thought I wasn't. So it's because I tolerated bad behavior before I lost my respect. Well, don't tolerate bad behavior. That's it. And I'm like, so 30 years I resolved it in one weekend. How about that? The eyes, the compulsion, the bad attitude towards men. I think it's a pretty good deal. So anyway, I realize that this has just gone on for 45 minutes now. But I say this, again, how do we deal with our traumas? How do we deal with chemical trauma, physical trauma of our eye? How do we deal with chronic conditions? How does trauma fit into that? How does trauma drive our compulsions for 30 years, 50 years, 60 years? Stuff that kills people. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I know I have. I wanted to share this amazing story with you. Have a great day, and there's going to be more amazing videos.